Welcome to the 10th episode of our podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by Carl from north of England. He's a personal growth counselor and educator who came here 15 years ago. This is Expat Episodes, where new stories begin. I'm Martin, your host, and I'll be guiding you through the stories of expats in the Czech Republic. So, hello, Carl. Thank you
Hi.
so much for taking the time to join me. How are you?
I'm good. Pleased to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Definitely. So, could you please introduce yourself so our viewers know who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name's Carl Davies, and I'm from the UK, from London. I live now here in Czech Republic, in Ostrava. I've been in Czech Republic, I think, almost 15 years. And what I do is I'm a counselor and trainer. So I do training for the big corporate companies, soft skills training. And in addition, I do individual like therapy and also business coaching for anybody that needs it. And it's all in English language, although I can speak a bit of Czech. So that's also possible as well. But no workshops or training in Czech language. I'm not on that level.
Not yet.
That's very positive. Not yet. Yeah, not yet. Still.
So, have you been, thinking of learning or mastering your Czech language, or it's just, something that you pick up as you live here in Ostrava?
So it's something that I've picked up when living here in Ostrava. So talking to people. So I really try to talk to people in Czech and listen to how they're speaking. And I found that people here are quite polite in the sense that they don't like to correct my Czech. So I'm improving by listening. In terms of learning Czech formally, it'd be really good. I would like to. Then what happens is there's different priorities, which is mainly my work. So it's just now practicing and talking to people.
Definitely.
would
So
like
it's
to improve it.
not your priority.
No, no. Yeah, I mean, I would like it to be, but when say there's the priorities, say for example, when there's work or there's preparation or things like that, that's where the priority comes in. So usually, like for example, with the expat center, they have these courses, and it's typically on the day when I'm not in Ostrava.
Can you please share a bit about your background and what inspired you to pursue the career in personal growth and psychology specifically?
Sure. Okay. So my background is so from the UK, from London. So before all of that, I during my school years, people were saying to imagine me as a therapist, and that they would come to me and talk. And initially, when I was during my school years, I wanted to be a vet. So I worked really hard at study in order to get to a veterinary school. But it's so, the standards are so very high, it was unobtainable. However, through the vet that I was working for several years, he got me into psychology and he got me into reading people and things like that. So I thought, okay, this is the direction where I wanted to go. And what I found during my university and school years was that I would be listening to people, and I believed at the time I had some sort of magic superpower where, if someone was talking to me about their problems, I would listen and they would leave, they would feel better, and I wouldn't. So I thought, wow, I've just taken on all their problems, I'm really good. So I thought it was like some sort of gift or some sort of talent. Later on, I find that it's not. It's really using the listening skills and the empathy. But at that time, still, I wasn't ready to go into the field that I'm in. I felt that I wanted to get more life experience, to say. So I spent about a number of years in business. I had a few startups and things like this, so really business focused. And then I made a decision at one point, which was I wanted to do something which had more meaning. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to make an impact on the person. I wanted to do some good. I wanted to give something back or something like that. Not in such a big way, but for the individual. So one of my focuses is making the world better. Making the world better doesn't mean that I'm going to, fly off and save the turtles or join protests it's not about that. But if I'm meeting someone, I don't know where they are at in life, but making their world, making their life a bit better when they meet me. So that's when I decided to focus on getting counseling skills and getting into psychotherapy. Well, that's where I went to. During that time, you go through therapy as well. So you get some therapists, you go through on these workshops. And I remember this particular powerful one where at the end of it, I became naturally more assertive in my communication. And naturally more assertive meaning when I spoke to my parents or when I spoke to people in authority, I was able to give the message in a way which was calm and, you know, setting some boundaries, and it wasn't aggressive at all. So they saw the change as well. I thought, wow, this is really good. I thought if I can, you know, make a workshop of this or do a training like this is far better than, you know, the standard course of assertive communication where you would learn the phrases and maybe you'd practice how to behave and how to act, but they're not really so effective because it's not coming from inside. So then that's gave me the idea of trying to do some workshops based around that. So that's where I got to now, which is all on personal growth um, and helping individuals. So when I'm doing a training or a workshop, I try to help the people in the room. But if I have a big impact on one or two people and they go away and they say, hey, that really helped or, you know, gave me some answers, then that's a result for me. That was a long answer for a short question. Sorry.
I really do appreciate it because I made some notes. You said that you had the tendency to take on people's burdens and worries, right? How did you learn to cope with it, to not take it on, you know, to not let it influence you and your mood and your emotions?
So when I was younger, so yeah, it would. So I'd feel really tired, etc., etc. Hence, I thought it was some gifts. I didn't want to do it with everybody because I knew it was quite demanding. So later on, it's just for people that were close to me. I would do that, and then through the training, then and the counseling, that's an important thing to have is the empathy. But then after, it's really, you know, looking after yourself. Um, Using enough empathy, but then not adopting the other person's problems or what they're going through. Because it's like you're trying to save someone. Maybe it's not the best analogy. You see someone you're trying to save, you're not going to jump into the same problems that they have because you're both going to sink. So you've got to be standing from the side like that. So you need to have some sort of enough empathy, but you need to have enough empathy, but also some distance in order to get the perspective that maybe they can't see or some understanding. So through practice and experience.
I see. Well, how do you maintain your mental health hygiene, if I can call it that? Do you talk to like other professionals? Like, do you have somebody to confide in? Like, does it work? Does it work in that way?
So yeah, so what's really important is you've got to have, you know, one of the fundamentals in your, say, for example, your mental health or your mental hygiene or your well-being is to have some intimate relationships around you. Intimate relationships meaning close people who you can confide in, you
So
can
not
trust,
professionals.
and other professionals. So, for example, I might have some mentors. Yeah, so maybe for some specific things, but the techniques that I'm also teaching is I'm using on myself as well. So it'd be changing how if your thoughts are distorted, which most people have. So, you know, I'm also human, so I'm going to have distorted thoughts. So using the techniques to correct my thinking, or maybe I might be stuck in a particular thought. So then talking to someone else who is, say, more rational or can give me a different perspective. So that community or the people around you are really important as well. Looking on the internet or other reading or watching videos of other psychologists or other therapists as well, joining some workshops, that sort of thing also helps as well.
So you mentioned this importance of community, of having close people around you.
Yeah.
This ties to my next question. What are some of the common challenges that expats face when they come here for the first time? You know, because they more often than not they don't know anybody here. So do you have any advice, or what do they struggle with the most when they talk to you, and how do you help them?
So if they're coming with somebody, then they have the partner and the partner's family, which is a really big thing. Because their partner and their family can help them with many things. So if that is taken away, then they're more subjected to, it's more challenging here because they've lost that network through their partner. So that's really important because sometimes maybe the partner doesn't realize it. Maybe the partner might think that that they're a child or something like that, but they become quite dependent through, could be medical, could be making friends, etc., etc. It's a big impact. If you got the other type of person that comes here and they don't have, and they've just come here by themselves, and you've got the initial excitement, and you've got that energy, and you've got that motivation, which really helps them get through the initial stages. So during that time, maybe they can make a network and make friends, things like this. So if with the clients that I have, a common one is the loneliness and being disconnected. They may know a lot of people, but it's those close relationships that are lacking, right? So yeah, expats or the foreigners, any expat in another country can feel it more because they haven't got that network, they haven't got the rituals, they haven't got their habits that they're used to, that comfort zone. So if I was back in London and I'm not feeling, so connected, then I don't know, I'd go to a shop or I'd go to the cinema, or I've got my lifestyle which acts as my comfort. Here it's still can be relatively new or alien, so that needs to be built up as well. So that's a common one. So the loneliness, the disconnect, maybe lack of close relationships. So that's what we would work together on building. And I do that with the trainings as well. So it's your network, it's your support circle, which is really important. So you can do visually, you can draw it, and you can see, okay, I know this person. We start to look at who you have around you. Who are you able to talk to? It could be your colleagues, it could be people that if you go to a bar or a restaurant, the waiter or the owner, or maybe if you go to the park regularly, the people that you meet at the park. Then it's like, okay, so if there's a lack of close, intimate relationships, a lot of people, why are they not closer? So then it'd be also looking at yourself, what's preventing you of letting other people get closer? Who would you choose, etc. like this. So it's a process of getting there.
I see. So do you think that living abroad or moving abroad has a positive impact on people? Like in terms of, leaving your comfort zone and getting used to a different culture, different way of thinking and all?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it brings you a lot more different experiences. You get to meet quite different people, different to your own culture or your own social environment. So it's going to make you richer as well. Going to put you into situations which you're really not uncomfortable. Put you into situations where you're really uncomfortable, or you may think that I can't handle this, or it's too difficult. So if I was to ask you before you were to move abroad, gave you some situations, you might think, no way, no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't open up a business. I couldn't work for myself. I couldn't learn the language, etc., etc. But when you're there, the person can be quite surprised how resilient and resourceful they can be, and they get through it, and it helps build the confidence as well. So yeah, really good experience because it expands their world rather than it just being their environment from the home country.
So do you think that the approach to counseling and psychotherapy is different in England and in Czech Republic, or how does your approach specifically differs?
So yeah, so here it's still not quite there. So if you would go to the UK or other countries as well, it's normal. Yeah, it'd be recommended. Okay, so just to go through anything from the past or anything that you want to sort out now. Here is still seen in a negative light, meaning you have to have a problem. So my problems aren't serious enough for me to go to see a therapist, or I don't have any problems or things like that. And it's not the case, because you don't have to have a problem. So it could be it's this person who you talk to, and you're sitting there for about 60 minutes, and the focus is just on you. So you don't have to feel guilty about speaking too much or not asking the other person questions. So in that process, you don't have to just have problems, but it's about understanding yourself. Maybe you want to grow, maybe you want to learn. It could be understanding the world around you. Maybe you feel that you want to have better relationships around you, but you're not sure, where to go. So it's that person who you can talk to about anything and be open, and have a feeling of not being judged and being accepted, and getting you to be, if you want to say, a better version of yourself. So here still, it is changing. So I've noticed it in coaching as well. So say younger people, in sense of like, earlier on in their careers, have realized that, I can get to where I want to go. It's going to take longer. It's going to be difficult, but if I get myself a coach, or if I get myself a mentor, or if I get myself a therapist, I can get there, and it'll be easier, and it will be quicker as well. So I'm using the analogy, I guess it's similar to going to the gym. You can get fit, you can you can check your diet, things like that. It's going to be tough. But then if you got someone who is next to you and they're really believing in you, it has a big impact, and you're accountable, and you're more likely to get there quicker, or reach what you want to do.
And building up on the gym analogy, which I think is really great, if you have somebody who's there for you and who's telling you how to perform the exercises correctly, right? You don't get injured, you don't have any long-term problems, and it doesn't take you all that long to figure it out and reach the goals that you want, right? So
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think that's a really, really good analogy.
Yeah.
So you would say that it's important to break the social stigma, right? To normalize like counseling, psychotherapy, and seeking out a professional to
Yeah.
help people gain like a direction. And
Yeah, absolutely. Because imagine, so you got that one person who is a professional, who's a separate part of your life. Now, if you've got problems at work, if you got to make a decision, whatever it is, or if you find that you keep going into the past, or are you getting misunderstandings, who are you talking to? It'd probably be the closest person, or it's going to be your friends. And it's going to be tiring. It's not going to help you move forward. They can give you advice, they can listen, but it's going to be, you're going to be there. But if you can talk to someone else, maybe they can move you forward. But then when you're going back to your personal relationships, you're not going to be, say, complaining, or you'll have more energy, or things like that. So it's a good way just to, even if it's just talking, or to correct, I mentioned before, to correct any unhealthy thoughts or distorted thoughts, because that would be one of the things that is covered during the counseling, is having distorted thoughts about the environment, about the world around you, really affects your reality, right? So when we were going back to saying the loneliness and not having close relationships, or maybe I don't have close relationships. Maybe, I know a lot of people, but I'm not willing to let people get close to me, or because maybe I have a belief that you can't trust people, or things like that. Or it could be that I could have a belief that I've got to be good, or I've got to be perfect. I don't have problems, or things like this. So that's where the therapy and the counseling goes on to a deeper level, which you're not going to have with your friends.
so those two instances or cases that you just named, would you say those are the most common problems that you help your clients work through?
Yeah, so the quite common one is being good. I've got to be good. Another one is I can't. Is people pleasing. I can't. I have to have people to like me. I can't annoy people. Things like that. I've got to be good. I've got to be perfect. Those sort of things. Got to hard work. So those beliefs in yourself were good at some point in your life when you were younger, but they're not going to be so good when you're an adult. So that's the other thing as well. It's like some things that you believe now might not be the best belief to have. So if you were to believe, like, here's an example, is like sometimes with some clients, it might be about the feeling of injustice, or that the world's not fair. So when you're a child, 6, 7, 8, 9, as a parent, as a child 6, 7, 8, or 9, you have a belief that the world is fair. And as a parent, you try to make it as fair as possible, generally. And sure you do, because you don't want the poor child to think the world is a mean place, because you know this is going to create anxiety. They're not going to be looking forward to growing up. So as an adult, as a parent, you try to make things fair between siblings, etc., etc. But then when you're older, and then you realize how well the world is, it's probably not the best belief to have, thinking that the world is unfair, because you're going to be unhappy. There's going to be things that happen to you which are like, how could this happen? And you know, so it's like, to have the healthier belief would be, okay, you know, the world isn't it's not that the world isn't fair or not fair, but really how I perceive the world. I feel I'm talking too much.
No, it's it's a podcast, so we're having an interview, and I really do like it because the more you talk, because I keep coming up with those questions in my head, and you keep on answering them as you go. So I think, yeah, I think it's perfect.
It's a complete role reversal, isn't it? So,
In a way, yes.
that's right. Okay.
So, what would you say, or if you could give one piece of advice to someone going through a difficult time, what would it be?
The biggest impact is going to be is your social network. Really work on that. Because even if there's like a crisis, you can have people around you which you can depend on, or at least reach out to. Um, It'll be more than that, because I could talk about reframing, I could talk about changing your thoughts. There's lots of things I could talk about. But then if I'm imagining like the any crisis that's happening, like for example, very recently we've had floods, right? You could change your perspective on that and see, look for any opportunities, or change your view on it. But that's not really going to help you if you're by yourself and you're having to do things. So it's really probably the thing for difficult times is to have to know your support network, to recognize who you have around you. You might feel that you don't have, but to really be aware of who you have around you. So it can be, if we're looking at the outside circle of it, it could be things like, well, okay, so hold on, I have a doctor, I have a dentist, I might have a mechanic, or I might have a plumber, or people like that. Now, or an electrician, because when there's a crisis, and it's just those things which can tip you over the edge, like your car breaks down, or you have an accident, or your pipes are leaking. So that'll be like your outer support circle, and then you move closer in. So if you feel that maybe I don't have one, maybe I don't have enough people around you, maybe I don't have anybody closer, then that's something that you'd want to work on. Yeah, to allow yourself to take the risk, to take the risk of showing some vulnerability, to allow yourself to trust others, because trust is reciprocal. If you give trust, you're going to get it back. That's a generalization. So answer the question.
I see. Wow. Yeah, that's I try to be unbiased, but I do find myself in some of the things that you're saying, and I'm reflecting back on it. So yeah, I appreciate that, and I hope that some of our viewers also can have this sort of reflection back on it. It sounds like your line of work can be done also remotely. So, do you also work with clients outside of Ostrava? Do you work with international clients aside from expats living here? I mean,
Yeah, so I work in other cities online, or when I visit, but also in other countries as well. So if it's in the English language, yeah. And so what I've noticed with the online work is, before it was, you would have to meet the client in person. You would have to sit down, and yeah, there are benefits to that. But what I found is online works just as well. And in some cases, it could be better, because when the session finishes, it's literally just a click, the screen goes off, and then you can continue with your life. I don't get to see the whole body, but that's I find that the online work really is possible.
yeah, I think that online is also a great way that can really help break the stigma of seeking out professional, like, I don't know if it's a right term to call it professional help, but I think it's great that if you allow your clients to reach out to you online through, their preferred channels, I think it's great that they don't have to be, afraid
Yep.
of coming to the office and, having that. So you are accessible way easier. So
Yeah, so it's making it as comfortable, as easy as possible for the client. The thing is that this is a call it a business. It's quite different. So it's not. I can't be chasing you can't be chasing the clients because the very first step is a really important key. So if you can imagine, like for anybody making a decision that I feel I want to talk to someone. Don't use the labels of therapy or counseling or anything like that because that can be quite intimidating. But the person might feel, I feel that I want to talk to somebody. I feel now is the time. So to get to that thought and to make that decision, okay, that's quite a big step because some people can be in a stage of like denial. No, I can handle it. There's another unhealthy belief. Don't ask for help. I should handle it. I've got to be strong, that sort of thing. So that is the first big step. Then the next one is then to pick up the phone or to send a message to then reach out to someone. Good. Then to arrange the meeting. That's the third step. Okay. And then I've got to then go there. So then I go there, and you can imagine the very first session could be you go there, and it's like, yeah, I don't really know what to talk about. And it's so there's all these steps. So if and that's part of the process because it's getting because then it's showing that they really are admitting something and they want to change and they want to move forward. So it's like not like in another business when I'd call up a potential client and say, hey, remember those problems? Do you still have them? I think I could help you. It doesn't work. Doesn't work that way.
I see. Well, unfortunately, we are nearing the end of our episodes, and I have 5 final questions to ask you for
Sure.
our quick pick rubric. So the first question is, how do you keep your cultural roots alive?
So probably my living environment. So everything's in English, the books, everything that I'm looking at is in English. So, on the internet, YouTube's articles, things like that. Watching movies.
What about tea and biscuits?
The tea, yeah, I still drink tea. And all the food that I make as well is going to be, it's actually English, it's my food, so it's definitely not Czech, it's probably somewhere in between. And those sort of things as well. And also I have children and we speak English and sense of humor as well.
I see. So what about a song or a movie that would capture your life and experiences in Ostrava?
I've got one song in mind. I don't know if it's probably the best song to choose, but it's probably one of the songs that I like, and I think it's a song by The Journey. I think they're called Journey. It's called Keep Believing. Maybe that one is when it comes on. Like to sing it, or yeah, maybe some viewers know it. I don't know.
That sounds good. We can play it in the background for reference. What makes you want to call Ostrava your home?
What makes us? I think probably how I've set up my life. So I like to go to the park, the shops that I know, and also some of the people that I have around me. So it's got the basis of being home. I know where to go. I'm used to doing certain things like that.
What about a special hidden gem in Ostrava for you?
Hidden gem. If I tell you, it's not going to be hidden anymore.
That's a good point. Well,
Well, no, what I like about so I live near the park, Kamensky Sadi. So I spend a lot of time there. So I really like it going for walks. It's not so far. I don't have to travel half an hour to go to the mountains and then sweat and get out of breath. I can just go to the park, walk the dogs, and still being in a little part of nature. So I feel that I'm very lucky to be living so close to there.
yeah, it's great that, it's basically in the city center that you
Yeah.
can go out for a walk. I guess that doesn't happen in London, or?
If it could happen in London, but I'd be very lucky to live near a park.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I really like about Austria. Like grateful, or that I feel that I'm quite lucky, because there's lots of things which I have here, which would be difficult to have in London. I could have it, but I'd have to be on a different financial level to have it.
True. What about tips for a trip to England or London, if you will?
Yeah, London is really, it's changing all the time and developing. So anywhere in London, you find interesting. But originally, I'm from Newcastle, which is the north of England, and I think up there is really nice as well. It's kind of some parts of Newcastle and Ostrava I find to be quite similar, because it was a mining city, and the people there are very friendly. Really great university, and there is a lot of international students as well. So there's this culture, and also the culture of Newcastle people, really lovely. So probably most people, London's really really popular, but also say going a bit further north to say Newcastle.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. So yeah, thank you so much for answering those. Thank you for your personal touch, and yeah, I appreciate you for joining me today. So thank you for that, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Hopefully in better shape then. Bye. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Ostrava Expat Center with the media partnership from magazine Patriot.